Hello, today I want to welcome you into the chapel here in my house. This is a room where every day we gather together for prayer and a place where on Sundays our friends come and people worship with us and we break bread together right here in this room. And up here in the front we have this wonderful picture of Jesus, the Good Shepherd, with us today. Let's sing together as we begin. Come worship the Lord, for we are his people, the flock that he shepherds. Alleluia. Come worship the Lord, for we are his people, the flock that he shepherds. Alleluia. Today, we're going to look at a special text from the Gospel. This is a story we often hear called the Transfiguration. It's a big word. It's a word describing a time when Jesus, his appearance changed, and his friends could see the light of God that was in him. Now, we know Jesus came as a light into the world, and the prophets had spoken of him. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. They talked of this great light that was coming. Jesus himself said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness." But most of the time that his friends saw him, he wasn't shining brightly. He was looking like any other person. But he said he was the light. And then this one day, they could really see the light that was in him. Let me read from Mark today. Jesus took with him Peter and James and John, and he led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his clothes became radiant, intensely white, as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. And Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." For he did not know what to say, for they were terrified. And a cloud overshadowed them, and the voice came out of the cloud, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." And suddenly, looking around, they saw no one any longer, but Jesus only. It's a strange moment. He was transfigured before them. His appearance was changed. His clothes became radiant, intensely white. Radiant is their shining. Now, sometimes you'll notice when we look at pictures, you'll notice the halo that is around somebody's head. And we always see them around Jesus' head. You see one right there. But then if we go somewhere else, we might see it around somebody else's head. Here we have another one. The same circle around both Mary and Jesus in that case. We see them around pictures of all sorts of God's people. Now, that halo is supposed to be a way of showing that people are filled with God's light. Now, kind of picture it. If I'm shining bright with light, wow, you can see that around me here, right? I've got light all around shining. I got my own halo here. So we often see that in our art. We see symbols of God's light in his people. But here's some art from the Transfiguration. Now, I know the people here in this particular picture don't look very happy, but let's take a look at them. We see here some of God's holy people. We see Moses. Moses, the person who spoke with God, who heard the law from God, who did mighty works, helping to rescue God's people out of Egypt. And you see he is filled with God's light, and we see that. And over here we see Elijah, another one of the great prophets. And he's talking with Jesus, and he is filled with God's light, and he's shining. And then you see Jesus. Now Jesus, this is something different completely. He is so filled. You see that light is surrounding him all the way around. He is so full of light. His clothes are shining. The light is shining right through all of his clothes. The light is shining from his face. The light is shining from him off of his friends who are talking with him. He is so full of light that his own friends are terrified by what they see. It is amazing. And they see him in all of his light and his brilliance. And they don't know what to do. You heard Peter. He says, maybe I can make 3 tents, one for each of you. He didn't know what to say. I wonder what we would say if we suddenly saw our friend in this wonderful light of God. He didn't know what to do. But I wonder about that light. Did Jesus only have God's light for these few minutes when he was shining like this? Or did he already have that light even before? And then we heard at the end, a cloud overshadowed them. A voice came out of the cloud. This is my beloved son, listen to him. And suddenly looking around, they no longer saw anyone with them, but Jesus only. What happened to the light? Did it go away? Or were they just not able to see it? Was that light always there, just hidden away? And for one moment, they got to see the light that was in him. I am the light of the world, Jesus says. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I love how Jesus has the light, but the people talking with him get the light too. He shares it with them. In fact, we hear in the scriptures that we get to be called children of light. Not children of darkness, children of light. God's light in us. The same light that's in Jesus. I wonder what it means to be children of light. I know we don't always get to see halos around our heads. We don't normally look like I did when I went and stood there by my lamp. But is God's light shining in us? I wonder how we would notice that light in other ways. I wonder if we notice it in the way we talk, in the way we act towards other people, I wonder if we can ever see that light, even in our faces. I wonder if we could see God's light even through the top half of our faces. God showing his light in all sorts of surprising ways. But this day, they were very surprised. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Let's sing together. The Lord is my light and salvation. In him I trust, in him I trust. The Lord is my light and salvation. In him I trust, in him I trust. The Lord is my light and salvation. In him I trust, in him I trust. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Christ is light. In him there is no darkness. Come to him, and he will give you light. Christ is light. In him there is no darkness. Come to him, and he will give you light. One more time. Christ is light. In him there is no darkness. Come to him, and he will give you light. He will give you light. Well, thank you for hearing these scriptures with me. Thank you for enjoying them together. Thank you for singing with me. We celebrate the light of God today. And next week, we will actually recognize the beginning of a very different season, the season of Lent. So I look forward to beginning that time with you as well. I see the love of God in you. The light of Christ comes shining through, and I am blessed to be with you, O holy child of God. I'll see you soon.